Hey everyone, my name is Lemon Low and I'm a bishop with Tradera. I just want to talk to you today about why Tradera. Well, why Tradera is that you now have an opportunity to learn a fresh, brand new skill. This is a skill that enables you to learn how to trade in the foreign market or the foreign exchange market. Many of us are already aware of what this includes. It's pretty much the exchanging of currencies in a particular country. So for example, if I'm here in Jamaica looking to travel to the United States, I would have to change my Jamaican dollars to US dollars. Now, I've heard of many stories of persons dabbling into foreign exchange or forex market and losing. However, for the first time now, you're able to be educated, yes, because knowledge is powerful. As a result, I have decided to mentor, encourage, and enlighten persons about how they can learn foreign exchange. Now, it's important to appreciate that this will not happen overnight. It is a process. So what I've created is a webinar, a daily webinar that talks about what is Forex, why persons are running to Forex, and how it is that you are able to profit even if a market is doing well or a market is not. So what it simply means is that you and I are able to make profits whether our market is doing good or bad. And that is powerful, especially because of what's happening with the pandemic today. So if you are interested in learning more about Forex and how you can actually leave a legacy for your children's children, well, my number is 876-778-2216. Again, my name is Lemon Low and the number is 876-778-2216. You can WhatsApp me or DM me. Looking forward to educating you. Thank you and have a good rest of the day.
Yes, good night, my Facebook family and friends. Good night, sir Ray. I hope all is good with you. I hope that you and the family is doing well. I want to give a special shout out to all my friends on YouTube, Facebook, and my perspective page. You know, tonight is a special night. Yeah, I call it special night because I have a special guest, and you can say we're in the reggae boys, reggae boys. Yes, my reggae boys to the world. Last time they play game on tie 2-2. What we get to that. But before I start, before bringing my special guest, I just want to talk about a couple of things briefly, and I just want to send my prayers to the people of Morocco who face an earthquake, and then the people of Libya. Yes, over 5,100 people lives has been lost due to the flooding in Libya. I'm not sure what's going on in the world. Everybody says global warming, but it's not good to see so many lives lost through earthquake and now flooding. On the other side of things, I don't want to talk about the final capture. Hey, Mr. Danilo, the escaped convict who was serving life sentence for murder, killed his ex-girlfriend, and then killed someone in Brazil. So they finally caught up with him. It was on 14 days. So that's a good news that he hasn't taken more life. He was on the run. He broke the nets, whatever they broke, the setup for whatever traps he broke, and he was on the run. He went to people's houses and all that. So those are good. But most important, I just want to send my prayers to the people of Morocco and Libya. And if you out there who's watching can find a way to make a donation to these people, because lose 5,100 lives right away, and they're estimating that could be 20,000 lives be lost because of this flooding. So, I know that they will be needing a lot of help in whatever contribution. So stay tuned. Salvation Army is one, another organization about they were trying to help these people, especially in Libya now, and Morocco earthquake. So, hey, the world is not, we call it, the world is not flat. So it's round and things are happening. But anyway, tonight is my special guest from Jamaica Football Federation, the General Sec, Mr. Dennis Chung. Mr. Dennis Chung, he's a businessman, He's also, I could say, he has been chairman of the NSAAA. I think he's still there. I'm not sure we'll ask him. But now he just take up the mantle of the JFF as General Secretary. So I asked him tonight to come on to give him perspectives and talk about football and what is his plans for. So without further ado, let me add Mr. Dennis Chung to my podcast. Sir Dennis, how are you? Good night, sir.
Yeah, man. We're doing short. You need to buy an Adidas jersey, man.
Hey, listen, I have to go online, but I still wear something. Hey, we're going to talk about that too. Okay? I like the merchandising, and I must say that Adidas. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any partake in design and structure, but that alone was a beautiful. Even movie stars are wearing it. People love it. So I'm gonna get my own soon. You're right about that. So how are you, my brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I see the Great College won their opening game at Manning Cup.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
And I must say congratulations on the appointment of being the General Secretary of JFF.
Yeah, man.
Thank you to coming in and giving me some perspective insights, because there's something people out there, Jamaicans here. We talk, but we love to get the facts and the man who's behind the scenes and your perspective of JFF and where it's going and all that. But before I even go there, I just want to talk about last night's game.
Yeah.
I'm very, very disappointed with the turnout. I mean very, because you made a comment last week that yes, you expect more turnout. To me, I didn't even see 20,000 people in the stands. And I'm not sure if it's promotion or something, but because the guys are doing their best and they need the support. So I don't know how best you guys will adjust. I guess you will have the answer. You might put some proposal. You can tell us what's going forward, what's going to happen going forward.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, let me say that the turnout was not bad for us, because we only expected a maximum of about 14,000 people to come. Mm-hmm. Because the truth is that Jamaicans don't really like to support events.
Hold on. No. I don't like that with don't like to support events. Jamaica love to support, but when you're winning, they love to support. That's
yeah. When you're winning, there's support, and especially if it doesn't cost anything, eh?
Well, that's true too.
So like Grand Gala is full because it don't cost nothing to go to Grand Gala.
But Burna Boy come.
I mean, you have to understand that entertainment has a much wider audience than a sporting event. Mm-hmm. Right. So when you look, for example, even when track and field was doing good, and you look at the national trials, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. You don't find that the stadium is full,
right?
So I don't know. I mean, even with the days of 1998, mm-hmm. When Jamaica went to the World Cup, mm-hmm. I remember I'm an ardent football person, so I used to go to every one of the matches, right?
Correct, I was there too. Mm-hmm.
And it's only when Jamaica start winning and getting closer, it's the people start come out.
Well, let me get a history with that. Because I remember when Jamaica was winning in the first round. I think they were playing, I don't remember which game, but before the game of El Salvador. Before Jamaica was coming out, and then El Salvador, the stadium was empty. I mean, empty. Yeah, and I from my perspective, I can give my story what happened. So when we look at the fixtures, my friend, we said, listen, we can qualify.
Yeah.
And I remember the bomber Andy Williams scored that one goal.
Yes.
El Salvador, the national stadium, down to going towards the hills. And that game turned around the whole support.
Man.
Because we start winning, people start believe. The Waganists them start jump on board.
Yeah, man. Because there was a lot of talk.
Yeah.
That time about Waganists, because you remember, Sean. I mean, I used to go to the matches when it was easy to get in.
Yeah, man.
It was empty.
Yeah, man.
And then as soon as people realized that Jamaica could qualify, all of them, everybody started coming to the matches.
Correct.
So the turnout last night for us within the context of that wasn't bad. I mean, over the bleachers, what you call little grandstand across from grandstand.
Yeah, right.
It was basically almost full. The grandstand was almost full. But it's just that it didn't have the full bleachers.
Correct.
Right. So, and we did have a lot of crowd, and you know what made it even better for us is that we were all electronic tickets.
Nice.
You know,
nice.
Because what we used to find out before is that if 5,000 people were in the stadium, only 1,000 paid. When you have the physical ticket.
What are they? Are you serious?
Yeah, man. That's how it is. Because I give you an example too, Sean, and it always amazes me that people don't like to support it. So everybody talks about, boy, the JFF can't pay this and the JFF don't have no money and thing, and you know, they criticize and this and that. And yesterday, 2 days ago, before the match, a lady who is from, I've known her for a while, and she's a struggling mother with her son, you know. She called me, and I've known her for many years. And she said to me, boy, Dennis, where can I get 2 tickets to buy? I want to take my son to the match.
Right.
But at the same time, people who I know can afford it and do a lot of profiling on social media will call me, can I get 2 tickets free? And you know, that's the reality of it.
Right.
You know? And we have people just trying to get in without pain. And I don't understand that culture, because for me personally, you know, I'm not like that. Even when I'm helping someone with an event, for example, right? And I know this person's putting on the event and have costs. Even when I'm doing a lot for it, I'm going to pay. Because that's just me. I like support.
Yeah. And I'm the same time too. I give support. If it doesn't $1 to give, I'll drop $1 to. If a man short, I'll it. Because the thing about it takes cash to care.
Yeah, man.
It takes cash to do what you put on an event. Nothing is guaranteed, but I don't want to sidetrack because you know my thing is I just want to discuss what are your plans with JFF, and you know I last night game I don't want to talk about the game tomorrow because I'm still, to be honest, trying to understand what is the coach philosophy, why the players are not synchronizing, there's no cohesion, and although dominate second half and all, but there are things that are still not cohesive. But I just want you, Jeff, tell me, what are your plans going forward addressing Jamaica football crisis? I wouldn't say crisis, but there's still some niggling issues, you know, like accountability, programs, and paying of players and the teams. And what are your plans? How is it going to be looking for the next year or so? Because you got a lot of things coming up. The women coming up next couple of weeks. The men coming back, Nation League and all that. So talk about it and, you know, give me some.
So I'm in a good position now, you know, after being there for a few months, about 10 months now, to do the assessment. I know when you started your program, Sean, I can tell you, you're correct. Being on the outside and just seeing, you know, from a distance what's happening, really, people don't understand how the football runs, right?
Correct.
And when I went there in November 2022, I had made some commitments. Number one, I'm not someone who rushes in and makes a judgment.
Right.
I said, let's look at the situation. I knew what certain things were. I mean, the brand was a problem. The finances were a problem. Those are the primary things. You know, there are issues with the teams and that sort of thing. So the strategy was for us to find out, what's happening in there. Because I'm not like many people who just stay outside and assume they know everything that's happening in there.
Right.
I've been through it at NSWMA, for example. Right? And I've seen, when I've gone in there, the perception of the organization from outside is different from the reality. And I mean, even at Air Jamaica, when I divested Air Jamaica, where people used to think that it's politicians who caused the downfall of Air Jamaica, and it wasn't.
Own people.
So I went in and I did the assessment. We knew that we had a financial issue. And then the plan was we want to get Jamaica football and the brand well known.
Correct.
But before you can actually sell a brand, you have to have a brand to sell.
Correct.
The worst thing in the world is to try and market a bad product.
Correct.
And therefore, we had to do the assessment of what is wrong with the brand, because the brand Jamaica Football Federation is a very powerful brand. The brand Jamaica is a very powerful brand. So what is it that was causing all these issues? And I think it had more to do with the organization internally, the fact that we were not as transparent as possible on the whole PR side.
Transparency, right? That's what we're talking about. Transparency. Go ahead.
Then, so I determined that those things would have to be fixed. And when you're also in a financial bind, it makes it very difficult because you have to be negotiating with people who you owe a lot of money, even on a personal basis. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you have financial instability.
Yes.
You can't sleep at night. It affects everything.
Right.
So we determined to fix it. So in order to fix it, though, you have to you come into conflict with the existing culture. Therefore, changing culture is critical because the fact is that there are many people, for various reasons, who are comfortable with it as is. And at the same time, you had people in the media who were always on the back of JFF. And most of the times what they said was not accurate. So you had to ride those things.
Right.
So we determined that we would bring certain controls in place, bring certain procedures in place, and work with FIFA, and change the image of the organization. Right?
Change the image. That's critically what you said there now.
Yeah.
Changing the image, changing the culture. Because the perception is that everybody who work at JFF are thief.
Yeah.
Alibaba and 40 thieves.
Yeah.
That's the perception. That perception has been ingrained for the past 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So continue.
And I think what caused it more than anything else is what FIFA went through with Sepp Blatter. And, so everybody believes. And remember what happened with Jack Warner also.
Correct.
So everybody now believes that, hey, football globally is corrupt.
Yeah.
And because of the financial issues and the lack of transparency that JFF had, people believed that JFF is corrupt. But I can tell you, since going in, a lot of people believe that a lot of money is siphoned off by the president and the directors. My experience being in the organization is that the main challenges of the administration is not at the level of the presidents and the board. It is the administration level. And the people who are executing on the ground that primarily caused most of the issues that you see. Because you see, after maybe there was an issue before the set data and FIFA thing,
Right.
but after that incident that happened with FIFA, FIFA changed a whole heap of things. They didn't sanction cash payments anymore. They had a central audit review every year.
Right.
Yeah, they got very strict on governance. And so even if someone wanted to take money out,
Right.
it would have been very, very difficult
Right.
to do it. So then I saw JFF as a diamond in the rough. And all we had to do is clean it, fix the processes. So we put in a procurement policy. We put in a whistleblower policy, a sexual harassment policy, right? We put in a safeguarding for children policy, right? We put certain controls in place. We put purchase orders in place. We started getting our financial statements within 10 days after the month end.
So the month end close and the financial reporting meetings, team executive board meeting, all financials going.
Right.
Every department from purchasing, payables, receivables, financial reporting have to do a complete package at the month end. And that's a financial report to report to the board.
Right. So what happened now is that to the end of July and certainly August, we are in a surplus situation on our books.
Surplus? Yeah.
We have a surplus. And that's because we put things in place like putting in budgets before games and all of those things and sticking strictly to them. So, when people talk about, they hear someone come out and say something and JFF don't want to pay this and JFF don't want to pay that. We have to work within the budget, because if we don't do that, we run into the problems of the past, right? So we put more controls on it. And what happens is that a lot of people don't like controls.
No.
Right? But at the end of the day, if we can create a more financially sustainable organization, it helps with the football.
Right.
It helps with the people who work at the organization, because it means that everybody more can benefit. So, we had some issues, for example, and we had to sort out contracts. When we went there in November, 90% of the employees did not have a contract on file.
What?
But people were being paid.
Really?
Right? Yeah. So we had to sort out those issues, right? We had to sort out some accounting control issues that were there. But we think we're in a good place now, right? And I'd said that by the time we get around to the third quarter, JFF would be in a better position. So we've paid up the girls all the money we have owed them up to World Cup. And the only reason why we haven't paid the World Cup bonus yet is because we just finalized the computations with FIFA. So by the end of the week, we'll pay up that also.
And taxes complications is a part of that payment too, I'd assume.
Yeah, man. So the taxes have been worked out, the withholding taxes. The whole issue of the boys, we still owe the boys money for matches, even from last year, but we've paid up all the per diem that was owing to the boys up to the current games that just finished, right? So we're in a better financial position. I will pay down a lot of the legacy debt owed to vendors.
Yeah, and I heard a part of it could be the former captain, the great Captain Burrell. He had, he would always put in money up front. I know that his business, or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I heard that Burrell used to put a lot of money in, but we've taken a very strategic approach to addressing these issues, and that has helped us now to provide more support to the football. So even though you heard people talk about crowdfunding for the girls, which was I don't understand how people believed it, because 60,000 US can't make you leave the airport. Right?
No, but it was an over sensational thing.
I think the international media was really naive in believing, and people are naive in believing that crowdfunding can take you to the World Cup. Because since I went to the JFF in November, we've spent about $2 million US getting the girls to the World Cup.
I understand that, but you see what happened, the whole thing about it, what triggered it was that disgruntlement and back and forth with you guys in terms of payments and that meeting. So, and then parent doing
Sean, I understand that, you know, Sean, but maybe because I'm an accountant, and I like facts. I mean, you can't, if you let a previous situation affect your current judgment, then you really, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's really stupid. Because I can't make a previous thing affect my current judgment, because then it means that I have no analytical ability.
Well, then
you know, I'm just acting based on emotions.
Then that's if you hit in the head, acting on emotions.
Yeah,
that was the whole situation. I understand. Listen, I know that the look of 30,000 can't start because we're talking about travel, accommodation, money. I know that, but the people out there believe that the JFF was anti-reggae girls because the girls have to go to crowdfunding to help them out with it.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, if when you guys address, it's fine, you address everything clear up, beautiful. But we always talk about this is the messaging.
Yeah, man.
Messaging. If that came up before even the crowdfunding thing, then everything shut down. But you didn't.
But you see, there was no reason to say it before. So the crowdfunding thing started as 1 weekend it took and went viral, and there was no reason for us to say it. I mean, because we're not going to go out and say, "Hey, we spent so much money here, we spent so much money there." You know what I mean? But we said it because it was necessary at the time. But I'm just saying, even me, I mean, I hear people sometimes come to me and say, "Hey, you see this thing?" And I would say to them, "But think about it rationally. What you're looking at there don't make sense." But that's me. I just think that way because I'm an accountant and I think objectively.
No, but
right?
Jamaicans don't think objectively. Sorry for disappointing. The Jamaicans, I would say, let's put it, not in general, but some Jamaicans.
But Sean, it wasn't only Jamaicans. It wasn't only Jamaicans, you know, because the international media and international tradition and social media pick it up and run with it too. And I'm like, are these people real professionals?
Yes, Dennis, and believe it or not, I can put it this way, not because they go to you, we are a media person.
Yeah. Well, you don't learn common sense at school, eh? Correct. You know, but just to get back to what we're saying, though,
right?
I think that now we're in a position that we can start see the growth that we want. I mean, certainly the brand Jamaica, the brand JFF has been doing much better because we've been able to get about 15 sponsors, right? Beautiful. Which means that people are saying, "Hey, we have a little more confidence now." Right? I mean,
confidence is important. Yeah. I'm going to add something. Quite frankly, based on what you have been saying to me about controls and proper processes and change of culture, the JFF was running like a little party shop. Although some party shop run better than JFF, but it was running like a party shop. No control, no processes, money was coming out loosely and all. And I'm glad, you know. Let me say, I'm not because I know you're an accountant, I have business, but the stability you have brought for the past 10 months is in light of what your knowledge as an accountant, what required to bring some level of stability. And I just talk about the brand that's most importantly, brand JFF or brand Jamaica, and our brand Reggae Boy, that needs to be more highlighted. And the brand is there, and I'm happy that you're in a committee and the president have move into that way. I know some people will be still disgruntled because they don't like change of culture. Because when I'm used to them want to do the same old thing. But continue on the road, my brother.
Yeah, and you know, the president actually saw the vision too, which is, you know, when we sat down and talked, and he said, listen, this is what we want. And I can tell you, kudos to the president because he has taken a lot of licks. But, it's not everyone had the ability 10 months ago to see the vision that we wanted to achieve. Mm-hmm. As you realize with 1998, most people come on after you win. Mm-hmm. They don't come on before the win mm-hmm. and the vision. And therefore, the commentary we see, we actually expect it. But as we go along, I think that people start seeing the wins. What we've been seeing is that more and more people are now commenting positively, and more critics are being silenced. Right?
Sorry for disappointing. The criticism still not nice.
No.
That, but
you have critics making noise, but not as much as before, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And we see that because the truth is that, let me give you a quick measurement. Mm-hmm. A few months ago, JFF was in the paper every single day. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Most days now, JFF is not in the paper.
You see, that's the same with that reduction in news media carrying, and that's fine. No, the whole thing was, as I said, the image, you want to know, you want to be in the paper every day, and I'm going to tell you why.
No, you want to be in the paper for the positives. Correct. So therefore, but that doesn't mean being in the paper every day. What it means is that, right. So I think that now, and coming back to that now, so what we've seen recently is more positive news in the paper. Correct. So the exploits of the girls, the Correct. Exploits of the boys, because the boys did very well in these two matches, right?
Definitely.
The things that we've been doing from an administrative point of view. We had a very successful press conference the other day. The fact now that we have the Captain Horace Burrell Center, mm-hmm. I mean, you'll see it unveiled in a few days, but we've painted it really nice, refurbished it, right? Mm-hmm. And people want to be there. And we're actually renting that place. We have the Ghana national team and the Trinidad national team, men's, stay at the center. When the head coach comes to Kingston, because he lives out of town, mm-hmm. he stays at the center. Mm-hmm. We have Courts who gave us some new furniture for the center, right? We have Sherwin Williams who gave us the paint to paint it. Mm-hmm. We're painting all of the center there, and you're going to see it really nice color, right? In the JFF colors, the yellow and the green and the black,
right?
We have people who Calabar actually rented it for a while. Jamaica College actually rented it for a while, right? So we have more and more people. So that cost center is now becoming a revenue center, right? Those are some of the things that we're trying to do. Remember also, we're going to award the 2 inaugural scholarships. So by next week, we'll award those 2 inaugural scholarships that we had put out applications for, right? So we have the first time in over 10 years in JFF, we have a tax compliance certificate. I can tell you.
Yeah. I like that. I like the tax compliance, and I just want to shift something back. Go back a little.
Yeah.
And ask a question. Financial statements.
Yeah.
What is the drawback of the JFF going public to publish their financial?
We published the 2021 one last year. The only reason why we can't publish earlier the audited financials is because it has to go to Congress first. So we publish it after it goes through Congress, because financial statements are not finalized even after audited until your annual general meeting, which is Congress, approves it.
And that information can be found on the JFF website?
It is on the JFF website, and we publish the General Secretary report, which includes the financial statements and the new constitution. So all of that has been out there from about November or December last year. For the 2022 financial statements, as soon as that is approved by Congress, that will be published also. right?
Okay, so
And I just told you that I told you that to the end of July and certainly August financials wrapping up now, we would make a surplus, right? We also speak about some of the costs that we have. For example, when the whole thing of the crowdfunding came up, we told you that we spent $2 million US to send the girls to World Cup. 369,000 US was the plane fare from Amsterdam to Australia, right? So we don't withhold the information, but we give the information that we legally can.
And the question for you then, my brother, do you do a separate accounting of the reggae girls, reggae boys, events, or you do a consolidated?
No, man, we have all of the events budgeted before, and then we do the expenditure based on the budget, and then after we know what the expenditure is per event.
And what about the income part? Where do you generate the income? I know they get money from FIFA. Just tell us where you get the income to do this.
FIFA is at over 75%. So I give you an order of how much money we get. So FIFA is over 75%. The next biggest sponsor is Adidas.
Wow, really?
And, yeah, man. And the
Because
next...
of what? Merchandise and money are sponsorship funds.
Well, money and merchandise. Well, money alone, they're even bigger. And then after FIFA, then Adidas, then the Bob Marley Foundation is the next biggest sponsor.
Nice.
And then after the Bob Marley Foundation, you're talking about the Corporate Jamaica. Corporate Jamaica comes in after Bob Marley Foundation.
Right.
And then the Reggae Girls Foundation, and then the government.
Okay.
Right? And we do generate some miscellaneous money from the center. My projections is that by next year, the center should be giving us the government in terms of contribution would come in before the Reggae Girls Foundation, Then the Reggae Girls Foundation comes last. And then our miscellaneous internal, I expect by next year, we should be generating more money from our center than the Reggae Girls Foundation.
What about TV rights?
TV rights gives us some money, but not as much. And it varies from year to year. So the two matches that we have with the boys, we didn't have TV rights for those. That's CONCACAF. Right?
So I watched on Paramount Plus last night, and I know that I thought that at least they would share some of the revenue from those media outlets to give back to JFL. CONCACAF exclusive rights.
Well, we don't know that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. I think they have all the rights for it. So if we have our friendly matches for that World Cup qualifiers, and so we have our own friendly matches, we can generate TV rights, but we didn't have TV rights. So we did generate some TV rights, but not a lot this year because obviously, we didn't have a lot of matches.
Right.
But not typically in a year where we have quite a few matches that we have the rights for. TV rights will give us could give us more than the government gives us in terms of ranking. So,
mean for the year or for a month?
For the year.
Okay, cool, nice.
For the year. So where we are now, I mean, if you look at it, Sean, if you were in the stadium the last two matches and the build-up, the place felt like you were in the office in 1998.
Wow, really?
The excitement that was there because the boys played well,
Well, last night, hold on. Hey,
man. They gave up 2 easy goals, and one of the reasons I don't want to get into.
We don't want to get into that because we can't look at certain. I mean, I cannot give my analysis by the game, and they're still.
One of the reasons I don't want to get into it, and not to do the quality of play, because I think the boys played well. It is another reason which can be controversial, right? But if you look at how the boys played, the game was quick. They were passing the ball around. It's just that they gave up the 2 goals. But they really should have scored more goals, right? But I think that to come back from 2-0 and actually, that was excellent.
Very excellent. Okay.
Right?
And it showed that the quality, determination.
Yes, it's there. And you know, Sean, that possibly the most important thing in sports is this.
Mental.
And it showed a mental toughness to come back. Right. And you can only build on that because they do have the skills. Right. There are some issues that we had that I think might have affected it, which I can't comment on. But the energy, when you heard the crowd in there, right? We had a marching band with some former reggae boys from overseas actually sponsored a marching band that was in the stadium. So they were playing right through. The crowd was, I mean, when the boys were playing, it was just a great feeling. When we scored, you know, everyone was hugging in the stadium. You know, it was great. And therefore, that came because of the excitement that the boys created. And we actually had a greater turnout last night than the Friday.
Correct.
So all of that happens. And then the girls had a great World Cup. The girls are coming out, and a lot of people are anticipating the match on the 22nd. And we actually started selling tickets for that already because we sell what we call a triple bill. So you can buy all 3 tickets and get a discount for all 3 games. And people have started buying that.
Online. Electronic only.
Online.
Electronic only, right?
Electronic only. That's the way of the future. Right? Yeah?
Cashless.
Yeah, man. We want to get as cashless as possible. There are some, what we do, you know, we do facilitate people who can't go online and buy, so they can come to the JFF office, or we're going to have more outlets for the girls' matches, or the ticket office at the stadium, and they can pay there with cash, and then the person will go online and buy it and give them a printout.
Correct. That's
right.
Cool.
So we do that way. But the key to those electronic tickets is that once it's scanned, it can't be reused. Right? And a lot of people came with used ones and try to scan it again, you know, and have to be turned back. Right? So it shows what was happening. But I said all of this to say this, Sean. People don't realize that when they go and watch a 1.5 hour football match, it's 2 or 3 months of planning and work that goes into it.
I know.
The backdrop to that is significant. I mean, and then the cost, I mean, to bring a team to play a game is running you about $30 to $40 million.
I know.
Right?
So it's a lot. Accommodations. Man. Transportations.
The logistics, the organization, you have to make sure everything is on target, right?
Fee and all those.
Man. So it's a lot. And then this year has been the busiest year ever in the JFF history. We had the women had a camp in Florida. They had the tournament, the 4 Nation tournament in Australia. They had the UK camp. They had Jamaica camp. Then they had Amsterdam. Then they had the World Cup. So within the space of 7 months, there's 7 events, right? 7 to 8 months, it's 7 events for the girls alone. And then you had the boys going to Austria.
Right.
The boys going to Gold Cup.
Right.
Right. You had the under 20 girls.
Right.
Right. You had the under 15 boys.
Right.
You had the under 14 girls.
Right.
You had the CAC games. Right.
And and you still turn out with a surplus after the end of the
Yeah,
9th
yeah.
of July.
And this is what was amazing to me because so it shows that what we're doing work. Because we still end up with a surplus because of all the work that the staff has been doing on controlling the budget, ensuring that we go out and get sponsorship. Right? And I have to thank Corporate Jamaica for coming on because without them, we would not have been in a surplus situation.
And then you must add this too. Your team, yourself and your team have given confidence to them to come on board. And that you gotta remember that now, Dennis.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you didn't give them confidence, you wouldn't get the corporate sponsorship. Although you tell them thanks, but without their team saying, listen, we're going to give you confidence, we're going to get the brand, come on board. And that's why you got to try. And I expect more to come on board down the road.
Yeah, man. So I give a lot of credit to my team. And I mean, as I always say, we had some HR capacity before, and we didn't have everyone who were pulling in the same direction, but I think most people are pulling in the same direction now. And I have to give a lot of credit to the team because without them, it wouldn't be possible. And I give you a shift in the culture that happened since November. In November, when I went to JFF, at 11 a.m., it was myself and the person who came with me, plus the ancillary staff in the office. At 11 a.m., people weren't coming to work.
People weren't coming to work.
We're not coming to the office.
Wow.
No. Right now, we have a situation where people are staying until 9 p.m. regularly. Right?
Big culture shift.
So that's a big culture shift. And we're trying to bring more reward to people. So, we went in and we gave people a little more. I mean, we'd like to give them more.
In the realms of the
people on an incentive plan too. Right. So based on how the JFF does at the end of the year, and based on how you do individually, you can get an incentive.
Oh, like a bonus.
At the end of the year. So there's no automatic bonus.
Okay.
That was critical. So that cultural shift, right? And again, I give credit to the president who, we talk every day and we say, boy, we realize certain people don't like certain things, but he said to people, listen, just give us some time to work through the issues. Right?
And I think that, and I'm not going to cut you. I just want to say that that's a cultural thing overall in Jamaica with productivity.
Yeah.
In the public sector, people don't want to work, and then they want big pay and all those things. But you can't work in a level of high level productive because you're not going to get the results. And the proof is in the pudding that you have results and you have surplus now because culture shift in productivity, which you brought in incentives or bonuses, has made people start working. And that's what the JFF needs for all those years of. I won't go in further, but that just want to ask a question. I just want to shift a focus. And maybe I don't know if you get an answer, but the selection of players.
Yeah.
And this is from my perspective. There this person out there that is mostly foreign-based players that's like they're playing in Pro League, wherever they are. Those are the ones that comes into the program mostly for international games, friendly games, and they're not seeing enough local talent coming into the fold to get that exposure. Is there a policy, or it's all down to the technical committee to do the selection, or there's some guidelines that they have to go through? Because it's look very biased to local players. I mean, people won't come.
Well, Sean, I'll tell you how this thing works.
Yes, please, sir.
From an administration point of view, I do not get involved in the teams. That is the role of the coach. The coach
and who? Technical directors or technical committee?
The coach and the technical people. Okay. Right? Not the technical committee, but the technical people who work in the organization. So the reason for that is because the coach, you can't get involved in how the coach selects his team and then hold him accountable.
I understand that. That's fair enough.
So,
You have a contract, yeah.
But what we do is that we look at Jamaicans across the globe. And the fact of the matter is that Jamaicans who live abroad are actually, on a whole, better. They're better able to adapt to an international match. And I'll tell you why, Sean. The main challenge, many of those Jamaicans actually are born here and go abroad and play, right? Because our local Premier League is developing, but it hasn't developed yet to that point. And not because we don't have the talent, right? Because we can find people who can go and compete internationally. But if you look at our main issue, remember when Hal Grimson came to Jamaica, he said that if Messi came to Jamaica, in 2 weeks he would be an ordinary player. Because we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the fields. He says if Messi pass a ball in Jamaica, it's going to bounce all over the place. Right? Remember this. Right now, we only have one field in Jamaica that is suited for international football, and it's a national stadium. People play on Sabina Park, but Sabina Park has logistic issues for security. It has a limited amount of people. And if it rains at Sabina Park, the cricket pitch will dig up in the middle. Right? And Sabina Park does not have parking. So that is the next best field for international matches, but it's really a cricket pitch. The other one that is being worked on, which should be ready October, is the Catherine Hall Center. But those are the two facilities, Catherine Hall and Stadium. And Catherine Hall doesn't have a great seating capacity that can host real international matches, right? And if you look at the fact that children growing up are the club levels, right? Look at the fields and the infrastructure that the young children and clubs have to work with in Jamaica and compare it to what's happening in the US. Look at the pitches in the US. Look at the pitches in England. The fluidity, right? And your development in football is better suited. So that's one factor. The other factor, though, is that the leagues at the MLS and in the UK are more professional leagues, so people get paid and rewarded. In Jamaica, you don't have that level of not just sponsorship, but you don't have that level of support that brings in the money. So if you go to a match in the Premier League, for example, you can't even get a seat, even when the prices are very high, right?
You know a culture now.
Right.
Football culture lack in Jamaica. That's what you're saying.
Right. So therefore, we want people to more local players, right? But we don't support enough the teams for them to have the motivation to go and just focus on football. Because in the MLS or Premier League, they just focus on football alone as professionals. In Jamaica, you play football and you might have to have another job, right? So a man, you know this thing about that Malcolm Gladwell actually wrote a book about expertise. An expert is someone who spends more time practicing than you do. So they talk about this thing 10,000 hours. So if a man in the UK 24 hours a day is focused on developing his football profession, and a man in Jamaica is spending like 2 or 3 hours a day, who you think is going to be better in the long run?
That's a valid point, but I have to rebut you right there with where you said, yes, we have the semi-professional attitude where some players have to work, But a lot of our players, and for some of the teams, like for Tivoli, for the players them are paid monthly salary or stipend, but the money is
Yeah,
not great,
yeah, but the
that's their job.
stipend, yeah, but the stipend that they get
Yeah,
is really not a lot.
I
It is.
understand that.
I mean, they have to supplement that income. The stipend that they get, they can't live on that. They have to supplement it.
And then I hear, you know, this is what I say because I'm still not of the belief that we can't find local players to play at highest level. And I mean,
But,
like,
we do have some that play, you know.
but they're not come in, they're not incorporated because, to be honest, some of the foreign players when they send to go for, they're half as good as some of the local players. Them, and that's a problem.
Well, let me tell you something also.
Yeah, I don't play professional.
Yeah, but Sean,
yes,
football is more than just skills, you know. It is also your attitude, you know, and what you learn in terms of mental in the game, you know.
Coachable. You have to be coachable. That's why
yes,
coachable.
You have to be coachable. We have had, even coming out of that 1998 team, we have had some excellent players, and it's not the best ones who made it far, you know.
It's the one who are coachable.
Exactly. And therefore, when you go to a professional outfit like in the UK, right, or the MLS, you develop an attitude. I remember we had an incident in Jamaica where we actually had to separate with someone who, it was a big news thing, who actually went to a football match and was causing some friction to the point where shots were fired, right? And I said, listen, we have to cut this out of the football, right? And the person was separated from us for it. And you know that this, I mean, it could have been developed further and somebody was shot, you know, but I was setting a standard, right? And I had people, up to even coaches at Premier League, who called me and was upset that the person was separated.
Because guess what, my brother? I'm not surprised that they didn't call you. But the real situation, Jamaicans love this mentality that they lack that level of discipline.
All right. So
and
therefore,
and sometimes they carry that this because guess what? The player is good, he's excellent. Well, whatever the person is, whatever, because I have been through that phase. You understand me? I've been through that phase where you say that player how they get problem, and it comes one day when they say no more. And when you take that stuff, people start if you want to improve, you have to just bite the bullet, win, lose, or draw without that person. That's reality.
I mean, I remember my cousin Hugh Menzies when he was taking the girls to the World Cup for the first time. Before he qualified, he came to see me about a year before, right? And he said to me, I have a group of girls who I think will make it to the World Cup.
Right.
And I said to him, Hugh, but it's a year's time from now. Why you say that? You know what he said to me? He said, these girls are either on their way to college or in college, and they're teachable. And he says, because of that, they have the potential to learn a lot more.
And move forward and go for it.
Right?
And
this is I think this is the major difference that we have or have had many times. We do have some great players though, you know, and you see Mount Pleasant actually sold someone, right? So I think what Mount Pleasant is doing, I think, is actually an excellent thing, right? What Cavaliers is doing, I think, is also excellent, but they still need more resources. They still need more infrastructure. We need better fields for people to play on, right? Because unless we get there, then you won't see Jamaica's football develop to the level. I mean, there was recent, just with the matches gone, a lot of people are talking about the condition of the field.
Very bad, very poor,
right?
Very poor. And Dennis, you know, it's at 9:30, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to continue for a few minutes.
A few minutes, yeah. Yeah.
I have some questions because you mentioned about the playing surface and you mentioned the stadium. I talk about infrastructure. I talk about but I one question I want to ask you. How about the grassroots? What plans do you have for the grassroots? Because if we
Okay.
can get the grassroots correct, in terms of
Yeah, man.
and all. What?
So I'm happy that you mentioned that. FIFA actually has a worldwide talent development scheme, which we actually have implemented, right? We've qualified for it now. The first thing you want is that you just want people playing football.
Correct.
Just have youngsters playing football.
From grade 1.
Yeah, man. Right. So that is the first thing. But we actually have a talent development scheme in place now. So we've qualified for what we call a talent coach, which comes from FIFA and trains people here in terms of how to coach people. And we're now rolling out the talent development program where you go out and identify talent in the various aspects. So you try and develop youth leagues. You go out and try identify talent, and you try and nurture that talent. Because if you look what has happened to football globally,
right,
it's no mistake why the World Cup has gotten more competitive. FIFA put a lot of money into unearthing talent in Africa and all over. That's one thing Infantino has done. He has put a lot of money into getting talent from all over the place. Right? And this is what we want to do in Jamaica. We want to ensure that we give the talent the opportunity to rise. And we're going to start from early. We're putting in some grassroots programs, right? And you see, we're trying to encourage like a women's Premier League, right? But I mean, and we've had challenges with it. And we knew we'd have challenges with it. But, people in the media, boy, they see something wrong and they curse, oh, you get this wrong. But this is a new league. We're trying to start, and we know we're going to have some hiccups, right? Because guess what? A lot of the women who are supposed to play, they also have families they need to deal with. They have jobs they need to deal with. So we've had incidents, for example, where some people don't turn up. Those are the teething pains that we have to go through until we get to a point now where more and more and more are playing. Because right now we have a small pool, right? And you're always going to have a percentage of your pool that is really interested in it. So if you have a 10% interest rate, and you have 100 people, you might have 10 playing consistently. If you have 1,000, a pool of 1,000, you have 10%. You have 100 playing consistently. So the most important thing is to expand the pool.
Well, I want to ask something to talk about the grassroots, and I think this is where I know if JFF plan to do that. And what happens here in the US, I think it starts from the rec program, the recreation program, that you start with the grade 1s, then you move them to a level of playing like 7v7 from certain age. You understand me? So at least they start from rec, they start to move them, and then and then my thing is if they start develop, because JFF alone can't harness all the put.
No. We can't do the development. What we can do is try to facilitate.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do with the talent development scheme.
And this is what I know that I see somewhere some new academies that the Phoenix, the Ball, the other academies developing. And my thing is this: if you can somewhere incorporate those academies in terms of helping to develop the grassroots, then I see where football in Jamaica.
Well,
I remember you want to playing.
A part of the talent development program is to register academies.
Okay.
Is to get academies registered. So that's being worked on. But these things take time, Sean, because of where we're coming from. You can't grow a tree from the leaf, eh? You have to grow it from the root.
Yes, sir.
And you want to make sure that the root has a solid foundation. So when people say, boy, you need to do this, you need to do that, we can't just rush into it. Because we want to make sure that 2 years down the line, we're not coming back and saying, boy, this foundation shaky.
Yeah.
So we have to set the foundation properly. and build on that foundation. So that's what's being done. And I mean, maybe the fruits will be realized after I am no longer GenSec. But at least what we're doing is building that foundation to grow, you know, and so that it's not reversible.
And it might sound weird, and I'm being honest with you right now. This whole mentality of freeness, football must cut out of Jamaica right now, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the reality situation, there's always some administration expenses. Talking about equipment, paying a coach,
Yeah, man.
traveling expenses and all that. And this is my take. I stand to be correct. I maybe say it's far fetched. If we're going to develop a grassroots level, the parents of those kids have to contribute in some way to the world development. Because I tell you this, when everything is too free, they're the same one that break it down. But if it have to be, no, that listen, I like your kid, is good talent, we're putting to a program, but this is your contribution. You have to pay this, pay that. Because at the end of the day, if that kid goes to the highest level, the parents will benefit, everybody benefit, the economy benefit, JFF benefit, and and that's it. So if you can change that culture from grassroots upwards, hey, I guarantee there can be some level of
I mean,
success too.
We do have. I don't think there's a lot of buy-in from most parents across the country with anything. I mean, if you look at our successful athletes, you're right. The support that Usain Bolt got from his parents, and it's not just monetary, but just the support that Anasafa got. When you hear those people talk, the support that Shellyan got, right? And even with education, I don't think a lot of people realize that the main difference between the middle to upper class children and the lower class children, right, in income levels, is the support that's given by the parents to the education. I remember during COVID, I was against lockdowns, right? Because I thought the lockdowns would have given us greater crime and greater inflation and hardship, and it's coming through today. But during the lockdown, when schools were locked down, my daughter, I used to send her to extra lessons. So you lock down the school, fine, but guess what? The people who can afford it are going to find a way for their child to be educated. So I sent them to one-on-one extra lessons. The result of it is that in the PEP exam, my daughter came in the 97th percentile. Right. And at the same time, I was hearing that thousands of children could not be found back in school. And that's the reality. If you don't have strong parents behind you supporting the children, right, in whatever way, then a big part of their success is compromised. And you're right, we have to get that. We have to get the support from the parents. But, the truth is, Sean, Jamaica has some really bigger issues than that right now.
Yeah, we know that. But, I mean, issues are... Every country have big issues. Jamaica an exception from it. But, the sports in general is a catalyst in general name brand for Jamaica, from track, netball, football, and the thing about it is that I know they always crying the government support. And I said to one of my friends, maybe the government will look on a sports tax. Sorry, if you really want everybody.
But I think that we as a country has failed to develop on our competitive advantage, which is tourism. I think we should be earning a lot more money from tourism and sports and music. I mean, we just have not been earning as much as we could because we just have not taken the time to put the investment and the infrastructure in, right, to earn from it. Tourism, I think, should be earning twice what it's earning now. But, we let the infrastructure go to decay. We get the indiscipline out there. And you know, Sean, when you travel as a tourist, one of the greatest things is peace and quiet and being able to walk all over the place.
Yep.
Right? So we have failed as a country to take advantage of our competitive advantage, and sports is one of them. I think we should be earning a lot more money. I mean, we have the fastest runners in the world, right? And we have one national stadium that can only hold 35,000 people. So how are we going to put on the big sporting events?
And then that's where the problem lies, because they always say Jamaica and the money, they're the money.
Right.
And the amount of money waste no corruption in the past. But we're not going to go there, so because we can't, that can be a separate topic. But yeah, that can be a separate topic, don't worry. But Dennis, your final word, because I've gone over time, and your final words and what you can expect JFF going forward, and what you should say to the public.
Yeah, but we're going to continue to build out on the strategy. We're going to continue to bring more transparency. We're going to continue to bring more controls, and by doing so, support the national teams. So, I'm working more and more with the technical director, Wendell Downswell, to look at the competitions that we're going to enter into, right? The youth competitions, for example, we're playing a lot more of that. So I think JFF is going to continue to do well from that perspective once we have the support.
But anything on infrastructure development, can you talk about the fields and all that? Is JFF planning to invest in some new fields?
So JFF, we're going to encourage people to do that. I mean, we are going to build out, maybe. We have one center, Horace Burrell Center, which we're building out more. We're going to work on the field there. And the plans the president has is to work on 3 other centers across the island. But outside of that, we are not into infrastructure development. We're going to try and encourage policy from the government point of view, or from clubs, to develop their own thing. But then we need resources for that. And that's how we ask people to support us. So, we have a match. We have a match coming up on the 22nd, for example, the girls.
Right.
Come and buy a ticket. I know I saw somebody last night who, someone related to me. I sent them 2 tickets, and I said, boy, come out. And they said to me, well, the women's match is coming up, and we have some other friends that want to come. I said, yeah, that's great. Tell them to buy tickets. Yeah. And come support us.
Yeah, and that's what we need. Support in terms of buying tickets. I mean, hopefully down the road you can have a chartered flight from New York and we'll come down, play the game and come back up.
I mean,
it happened already. I think it happened.
For me, Sean. I mean, I never ask people for those things, even when I know them, because I love my independence. I don't want nobody to say, boy, say it's me, give Dennis 2 tickets to do that there. I buy my things, I'm an independent person.
It's a free mentality, that's a free loading thing. That has to be done, and I'm glad that you guys are looking forward and you're going cashless. E-tickets is the way to go. I hope that you guys will get more PR in terms of good news through the print media and visual, because that's important for you guys to really get that way. Because 19 worker, when you see them with full capacity, 35 or 40,000 strong was there, that make a big difference to the coffers of the team. I just say the thing about is that is the managing of the funds is a critical thing.
Yeah.
And it's quite clear what you said, that the part where it came, it's a party shop. Let's keep it real. It's a party shop. There was nothing there. So that's why that there were the financial struggles and the accusations and the perceptions. And I want to wish you and your team all success and change that perception. It's going to take some time. And it's a transparency, Dennis. Transparency.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be critical for your success. And last is confidence within for the JFF to get the support and get the funding. And congrats again. The reggae boys doing well, the reggae girls doing well, and they put a smile on my face every time they play, no matter what they play. And it's a brand, big brand, big brand.
Yeah, man.
So my brother, thank you again.
Yeah, man. Respect, Sean.
And I hope that my viewers have get a full insight of how the JFF itself runs and the general secretary, the whole, because you know, some people talk and then
yeah.
And you know,
and
so
I forgive them for that, you know.
you know, easy. You know, it go already, boy. You know, people are going to criticize. People are going to want the best.
Some people, they just can't help but think negatively.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just it.
Yeah, and one thing I must say that this team, the Reggae Boys and the Reggae Girls, especially the Reggae Boys, this team has quality. I like the quality.
Yeah, man.
And I'm expecting more great things from this team from
one. Well, the Reggae Boys are still at the top of the group, you know. And once we go through quarterfinals, we've qualified for Copa America. And I think we'll go through quarterfinals.
And those guys the limits. And I still think that the coach, I should think the coach should so much whisper the coach, check some local players, give them some exposure. I don't know if we have time because you know we're in competition mode. You have to have the best players around.
Well, the coach does what the coach needs to do, you know. I mean, I just provide the support.
You're doing a good job so far. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, cool. Respect.
And take care of your family, boss. And keep riding the bicycle, cool. All right?
Yeah, man. All right. Cool. Yeah, man. You too.
Peace. Yes, Facebook. I hope that you have enjoyed the interview. I'll try to pick him brain as much. He said a lot tonight about the JFS running and then his whole plan for the football in Jamaica. And it's not an easy task, as you can realize. Yo, Tans, big up yourself. Leon, big up yourself. Yeah, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, once again, that was my interview with Dennis Strong. And I hope that you have enjoyed it. I know it has been very informative. Yes, Dennis. Thank you, Leon. Appreciate the congratulations, brother. And I hope that it has been very informative and you have seen that, you know, what it takes. And Dennis and his team is working hard to change the culture. And the biggest thing the man said, there's a surplus now on financial statements. And he says that, you know, the audit finances for 2021 is there on the website. So anybody who wants to scrutinize, go to the website. They have a website and look for financial statement and look for the year. He said, no, 2022 is still need to be passed. It's audited, but Congress has to pass it. And there's a General Secretary report too. So when the Congress has passed it, then it posts on the website. So, you know, we as people must try to get the facts as much as possible. And all that, and he said infrastructure is one of the biggest things Jamaica need, and I can understand that. Yeah, man, you respect. I do my best, my brother, you Thompson. I do my best. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for staying with me for this interview with Dennis Chung. It was my pleasure in having Dennis Chung, the General Secretary, to come and explain all the things. And I hope that it has enlightened you, open your eyes, and enlighten you on how the JFF runs. So see you all next week for another episode of My Perspective. I'm Sean Falcon, your host. Have a wonderful and blessed night and a wonderful weekend. Hey, tomorrow, I think we're going to follow the weekend. But anyway, we're going to try and enjoy the weekends here. So keep safe, keep warm. One love. Peace out. Good night.